that figure, whatever it is, then accordingly you are eligible for the limit as provided in this tabular form that is given in 707. Okay, take scenario 1. You need to remember this table, mark it as important. Suppose your what do you say, effective capital is negative or less than 5 crore. Maximum remuneration that you can pay per director is 12 lakh. Right? If it is more than 5 crore but less than 100 crore, maximum is 17 lakh per director. 100 crore above but less than 250 crore, 24 lakhs per director. If it is more than 250 crore, then you can pay 24 lakhs per director. On top of that, you are eligible to pay 0.01% of the excess of 250 crore, whatever is there. This is on per director basis. If there are 5 directors, then 5 directors will get 12 lakhs or 17 or 24 lakhs. It's on individual basis.
So they can give below the 12 lakhs also, right?
Yes, this is the maximum. Maximum. Okay. Again, this maximum is by passing ordinary resolution. What is ordinary resolution?
50 plus.
Right. You're voting, you are putting for vote and your members are entitled to vote.
50%.
Correct. So in that case, if you are saying ordinary resolution, you just, for providing this remuneration, you just need 51% of approval. Okay. Now take an example. You are saying, no, I don't want to follow this. My MD is more superior. I am not ready to pay 24 lakhs. I am ready to pay 48 lakhs. Okay. In spite of falling under point number 3. Look at point number 3. Point number 3 is, okay, between 100, okay, to 250. Maximum that you can pay is 24 lakhs. Ordinary resolution 24 lakhs. But as a company, you are saying, no, my managing director needs more remuneration. You are saying, I'm ready to pay 100 lakhs per him. Take special resolution. Your 75% of members need to stop.
75% voting.
You understood, right? That goes with all the four columns there. Right?
Yes.
Negative or less than 5 crore, maximum 12 lakhs, but you are saying, no, I'll pay him 50 lakhs. Okay. Take shareholders approval.
Resolution and pay. Get
That's all.
approval,
Shareholders approving
and pay.
Exactly. If your shareholders approving, not a problem. Do that. But you don't want to take any chance. You are saying, no, I'm doubtful. My shareholders do not approve. Company is not doing well. What if I propose this remuneration and it gets defeated? Right? In that case, better to go with your 51%. Same case happened with your HR Motors. Okay, Google it after this class. It was supposed to be a reappointment of him, Sidharth. I don't know full name. Okay, so
MD.
Correct. So he had completed his first tenure of MD. He wanted to continue for another term for managing director. What the company secretary did is, he clubbed your reappointment and remuneration in one agenda item. So from an investor, from a shareholder's point of view, they didn't like it. They said, look, it's a COVID, you're taking so much of remuneration. We don't actually be in favor of this. They voted against the resolution for the remuneration part only. But since company secretary had clubbed both the resolution, even his reappointment got defeated.
Yeah, because both were clubbed together. So one got rejected. Ultimately, the whole resolution got rejected.
Exactly. So the blunder what company secretary did at first place is he clubbed the both resolution. Okay, he wanted to save time. He clubbed it. What shareholder did, they rejected. But when the detailed report came from a proxy advisories, they wrote, look, we had a problem of remuneration, not his reappointment. We are fine with reappointment. But your resolution was in such a way that we could not approve. Right? So that's the reason it got defeated. So again, then what they did, the moment it got rejected, then company secretary went back to the board. He took an approval again, proposed the resolution to shareholders, but this time two separate resolution, ordinary. One for reappointment, one for remuneration. Both were ordinary. Got it right? So this is a practical thing that we saw in year back. Okay, so any doubts on effective capital? Effective capital, as I said, it's your totality of your paid up capital and hard reserves. It will be given in the question. Right. I also feel in your accounts you will have this chapter and you will calculate this effective capital clearly so that you can correlate whenever you calculate you're calculating effective capital.
Sir, in company law, do we have any calculations?
In company law, we don't have any calculations.
Okay.
For effective capital. Effective capital only is given. So you need to sum up all. Okay, so let me tell you what exactly the definition is. You're able to see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is schedule 5. Okay. See your explanation 1. So basically, wherever losses are there, you write off the losses, preliminary expenses not written off, you minus that, add all the reserves, paid up capital, okay, get an aggregate, that will become your effective capital. Okay, any doubts still here? Effective capital.
Sir, the schedule 5 is only for independent directors?
Schedule 5 is for all the directors.
It's given like so for independent directors.
Where it is given?
716, that box.
Payment of sitting fee from a commission is right below that the box. That was a confusing statement.
So look, it is applicable for all the directors. So since it is, we are discussing about independent directors, it is given here.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so it is applicable for all the directors. There is a separate chapter for managerial remuneration, which I will tell you. Okay, so you can relate, but as of now, remember that whenever you are profit making, you will be paid as per 197. Loss making or inadequate profit, schedule 5. Okay, so this is indicative. That is your ordinary resolution. Up to 12 lakhs or below 12 lakhs, or if you want to be paid more, or special resolution.
Special resolution.
Okay, right. Now again, so independent directors, as I said, has 2 tenures, right? Tenure depends of what the company appoints him initially.
Yes.
It may be 3 years, 5 years. Okay. Maximum, then after completion of 2 terms, mandatory 3 years of cooling period, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So what actually these independent directors do at the board meeting? Okay, so they are there to give a third party opinion, right? So since all the directors there, your executive directors are in the interest of your promoters, are interest of their own interest basically. So these independent directors, these NEDs, they give a third party opinion. They give an independent opinion. They are there to protect. They are there to protect the interest of the small shareholders, the minority shareholders. Right? If anything wrong that is going on in the company, they are the first one to report. Independent directors. Right? I'll show you a few cases where management actually did not, which means the board did not actually follow instruction of independent directors. So independent directors, together, all the three of them, they resigned from the company, saying, "Look, you are not following our orders." Right, so we have told you specifically not to do it, but still you have gone ahead and done it. Okay, we are not in favor of this. Okay, if something wrong, you are not going to be held responsible. So hereby we are putting as independent directors. Right, so basically, whenever there is a red flag, they are the one who actually flags out. So that is why they are there, independent directors. It doesn't mean that all your resolutions that are placed before the board that they reject. No, that is not the way, right? So wherever they feel that, look, yeah, this is a positive signs for the company, this resolution needs to be moved. Okay, this is in favor. Okay, so on the board process, they collectively decide and they take a call. Okay, it doesn't mean independent directors, they're third party, right? So they're just there to reject or to make dramas in the board. No. That's not the way how it is, right? Even though the designation may be independent, your board has hired you, which means you are competent enough to understand what is being placed before the board, the matter, right? Accordingly decide whether it is favorable or not favorable. If it is not favorable, again, you tell the board, look, in my opinion, it's not favorable. The other independent directors tells their opinion to the board. If still board feels that, no, it's favorable, then let them go and do it. These independent directors can be safeguarded because initially they have said that we are not in favor of this. Got it, right?
Yes, sir. But is there any like majority they have to vote within three directors? Majority like two should be favorable or something?
No, it is about the entire board. So once the composition of the board is set up, on that basis your majority comes into play. So whenever the resolution is placed at the board level, it is always majority. Whereas shareholder level, you have two kind of resolution, right?
50-75
resolution and special resolution.
Special resolution. At shareholder level, you have two. At the board level, it is only one, majority.
Majority
of the board should agree. If the majority don't agree, then that matter is nowhere. It's not going further.
So in shareholders level, there are two resolution. In board level, there is one resolution. Majority of the board, if agree, there is that particular agenda or the resolution passes. If majority declines, then it is not passed. But in shareholders case, it is two. In terms of getting approval, whether we are passing a special resolution or general ordinary resolution.
Exactly. So remember, for a board, it is always majority.
Yes.
Right. So majority has to be in your favor in order to move that resolution. If it is not, it is not in favor of the majority, then it is not going. So practically, what happens is, say for an example, if the board does not feel the particular agenda is right, okay, and majority don't vote. Okay, so since you are there at the board, you will also have to give suggestion what you need to make right, set right. That is why the board, the company has hired you at first place. So sitting at board, you will say to your management, that is your executive directors or MD or a WTD, CFO, CEO, you will tell them, look, you need to make this certain modifications. Bring this agenda back to me with this modification at the next meeting. We will evaluate that and approve. Got it, right? That's how it works on the board. It's not like you have put the agenda to the board and board rejects it and that's all.
No.
Doesn't end there.
Why the rejection raised we have to find out the solution to it in that
Exactly,
immediate thing.
exactly.
What implementation can be done to make it in the next meeting, rediscuss it and get it to the voting level.
Exactly, exactly. So that is what the deliberations happens in the board, right? That is why they're there. That is why big brains are sitting at the board level,
Exactly.
right? Okay, any doubts on role of independent directors? Page 708. You can just glance through roles of independent director. See, succession planning, point number 3. Succession planning is, take an example, Ratan Tata is on the board.
Yes.
We all know is a aged person, right? You want someone to follow him, right? His son to follow or his daughter to follow. That is succession planning. Usually listed companies, as per LODR, they have a policy for succession planning. As per the planning, it says, suppose Ratan Tata is not there tomorrow. You don't want board to be,
Vacant.
yeah, right? So that is why,
Legacy further.
exactly. So you need to have a policy in place so that you know exactly, look, today, tomorrow, if I don't have this person, who's going to supersede that person tomorrow on the board? Right? So that is succession planning. So being an independent directors, you are also responsible for this. For a Companies Act perspective, it is not applicable. Succession planning is all high level, that is a listed companies, right? Lot of shareholders are involved, lot of stakeholders are involved. That is why the succession planning comes into picture. I'm saying on a mandatory level, voluntary basis, your public companies, your private companies can also have this. Act as a coach, mentor, soundboard. Okay, they're full-time colleagues, provide independent judgment, word of perspective. So any doubts on independent directors? So just remember, as I said, the moment I say independent director doesn't mean that that person is sitting at the board to just oppose all your agenda items. No, that person is there to give his valuable feedback. Okay, so if you look at the first point of why an independent director is appointed, in the opinion of the board, is of the integrity, right? He possesses relevant qualification, relevant expertise. I don't want a person sitting at my board level who does not have no knowledge, sitting just there, right, doing nothing. You want valuable inputs at the board level, proper deliberations has to happen for the benefit of all, benefit of the company, right, for the future prospect of the company. Right?
Sir, one doubt.
Yeah.
Succession planning, like they can take their role, or it's just when they are still alive, they'll be just assisting them.
No, look, the policy actually allows you to, defines. Suppose a managing director is not there tomorrow, who will follow? Okay, suppose, say,
The classic example in this case for succession planning will be when Ratan Tata was about to retire. There, the board constituted for a meeting who will be taking, and then they unanimously appointed Cyrus Mistry, which was like the successor for Ratan Tata, who took over the role of chairman Tata Sons, and that is.
Right. So the entire it happens to the entire board level. It happens to your entire SMP. Okay, SMP. Do you remember SMP we discussed?
Senior management person.
Perfect. Where do we do? When did we discuss this? Do you remember SMP?
When we are incorporation, at the level of incorporation and constitution of no.
KMP, you remember? KMP, you remember?
Key manager.
Yes.
No.
Right, SMP?
SMP is senior
Type
manager.
of directors.
Correct. So look, SMP is persons directly reporting one level below the board. Right. Today I am categorized as an SMP. I am a financial aid, president sales. I am directly reporting to the managing director. I am a SMP. Why I am directly reporting one level below the board or person who is directly reporting to your executive members. Even their recommendation has to go through NRC. Now you are able to recall
Yes, sir.
their recommendation, their removal, their appointment also has to go through NRC. KMP's recommendation removal has to go through NRC. Directors appointment removal has to go through NRC. Don't forget this. NRC does all this. Board, KMP, SMP. Can anyone clarify what is SMP is?
Persons who directly report to the KMP.
Directly report to one level below the board. It may be your executive director. Okay, it may be your whole-time director. It may be your managing director. Right? So basically, one level below the board, directly reporting to the board, you can say, or directly reporting to the MD, directly reporting to WTD. So whenever this kind of category people are appointed, in that case, the recommendation has to go through NRC board, right? So this succession planning takes care of all this: your board level, KMP level, SMP level. Got it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as per the schedule 4 independent directors. As per the schedule 4, what the schedule 4 says is independent directors have to have a separate meeting of themselves to discuss the prospects of the company, to see how the information is being flown from the management, from the board to the management, okay, to discuss the performance of the chairman. So it's a mandatory requirement. Only independent directors meet every year for this particular meeting. Right? Only independent directors. Okay, tell me how many meetings the company has to hold maximum, minimum in a year?
4.
Correct, right? So will this be included in that separate meeting of independent directors?
No.
No.
Reason?
That is for all the directors.
Correct. So there all the directors will be present. Here the law says only independent directors. Independent directors separately have to meet. Why they are meeting? To discuss how the actually board is functioning. Once the agenda is discussed with the board, how it is being implemented by the management. Right? How the chairman is performing. All thus are discussed. In fact, it also sometimes discuss about your remuneration, whether your MD is being paid adequate remuneration or whether he is drawing excess remuneration. Right? So, since all are independent from the management, that is why the law says you need to meet every year, right? Every financial year. That is from 1st April to 31st March. In that year, it is up to you. You decide when you want. Discuss these agenda items. Give a feedback to the board. Feedback is must. Otherwise, board cannot improve. This meeting is just to give the feedback. Analyze the performance. Analyze the drawbacks. Right? So practically, we also have this committee meetings. This separate meeting of independent directors. This is not a committee meeting, right? Committee is your 5 committee. Can anyone say which are the 5 committees?
Audit committee, NRC,
Right?
stakeholder relationship,
Correct.
CSR,
CSR
corporate.
committee, right. One more.
Risk management.
Perfect. Risk management. So from a law perspective, this is not a committee meeting, right? Even though it may be your subset of the board, right? Which means a part of the board members are coming to discuss. This is not a committee meeting. Can I pay sitting fees to this? The law says only pay sitting fees to your board meeting and committee meetings. Okay. If suppose an independent director asks sitting fees for a separate meeting of independent directors, what is your answer?
First thing, according to company law, there is no mandation, and another thing is you're already getting sitting fees in the other meeting, so the separate meetings is not provided.
Okay. Can we also apply similar logic to general meeting here for a separate meeting?
Yes, sir.
Can we do that, right?
Any of only one, which only general meeting they can get sitting fees, right?
No, I didn't follow your question. Sorry.
Sir, in which meeting do they get? Board meetings, right?
Look, board meeting, they get sitting fees. One, correct? Second, for attending your committee meetings, they get, right? Third, for a general meeting, the law does not provide. Law is silent. I said, in that case, if somebody asks you for a sitting fees for a general meeting, you need to go back to your articles. Okay? You need to, if the articles don't provide anything, go back to the board, pass a resolution, pay sitting fees. Got it, right? Same logic applies for a separate meeting of independent director. Law is silent. Law says, for any other meeting as may be decided by the board. If the board feels, look, for a separate meeting I need to pay, yes, you can pay. Provided board should agree. Usually I'm saying practically not being paid. They're being paid only for a committee meeting. Separate meeting, they're not paid. Reason being, yeah, tell me.
Continue, sir. I'll ask later.
So reason being, I was saying, it's a duty. You are being appointed as an independent director. Okay, your duty is to review whether my systems and processes are in place. For that, I don't think you should be paid sitting fees, right? For your contribution, yes, I will pay you sitting fees. This, you're not doing any contribution. You're reviewing my work. You're reviewing how the flow of information is happening from the board to the management, right? Again, I'm saying if board comes to an agreement, your articles provides, still you can be paid sitting fees. No bar in that. But as of now, remember, board and committee meetings, straight away you get sitting fees, okay, as may be decided by the board. But language used in section is board, committees and other meetings as may be decided. So other meeting may cover also your general meetings and the separate meetings. Got it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, any doubts till here?
Other meetings as may be decided, they've not clearly told. So it is according to the AOA of certain every company.
Correct. So if AOA again does not provide, then you go back to the board.
Special resolution.
At board level, it is majority.
No, sir. You'll ask special resolution and then see if we give we should give sitting fees or right?
No, I didn't get you.
Board meeting, committee meeting, and other meeting as may be decided.
Correct.
In that, as may be decided, we have to see every company's AOA.
Correct.
And still in the AOA, if there is no specification of giving sitting fees, we have to go with special resolution in the shareholders meeting or ordinary resolution.
No, see, wherever alteration of AOA is there, it's always special. Okay, alteration of AOA is special. But here we are not altering anything. If the articles provides, well and good, you are directly paying them. If the articles don't provide, still still you have a coverance of the act, right? Act allows you to pay. So you're going as per their act. But what you do is you take board's approval, that's all.
Okay, sir. But still, board's approval in the sense about like what?
Majority board.
Majority.
Majority.
Oh, board. Okay, majority. Yes, I got it.
Any doubts still here? Independent directors? Okay, come to page number 717. Selection of independent directors.
Which page?
717.
How much?
717. Look, if you don't on your camera, for me, it's difficult to judge whether you guys are understanding or not. Right, so I have to blindly go with Siddharth and Nagendra on basis their reaction. I'm saying, okay, they are understanding. So otherwise, for me, it's getting difficult. So it's better at least on my page, there are about 5, 6 clearly visible. So at least if they can on the camera, then it'll be good. I'm not forcing, but yeah, thanks. Okay. Page 717, selection of independent director. Right, so how are independent directors appointed? By this data bank. You remember data bank provision?
Yes.
Okay, what happens if a director is not registered under data bank and he still wants to get appointed as an independent director in the company?
First, he has to get registered in the data bank, following which the appointment, but I'm missing one of the appointments.
DIN number and data bank.
Okay, let us take an example. Okay. Okay, so Pooja is saying that, look, appoint me as an independent director, but she's saying that you first give me an appointment letter, then I will register in the data bank. Now you tell her that whether her contention is right or wrong.
Cannot be.
So can you repeat it, sir? Question.
Pooja is saying you give me the appointment letter for appointing me as an independent director. Later, I will go and register in the data bank.
No, mandatorily you require GIN and data bank registration. Only then you will be appointed as an independent director.
Perfect. So without even proposing your appointment, one needs to make sure that you get that person registered in the data bank. Otherwise, you cannot propose that director's appointment as an independent director, not allowed. You're violating the law. Right, so your data bank, who maintains this data bank? We discussed this.
MCA.
IICA.
Central government.
Institute
Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs.
of Corporate Affairs. IIC.
Okay. Look, as on date, even if you do not have DIN, you can still go there and register yourself. Today, me, I don't have DIN. You, none of you guys have DIN except Siddharth. You still guys can go there and register even without having DIN as an independent director. But however, for appointing an independent director, along with your data bank registration, you also need DIN number, correct? Without DIN, you can't appoint. So remember, for independent director, data bank is must. Okay. So how practically it works? I suppose I get registered myself in the data bank. Correct. So my name is also there. Suppose a company is looking out for an independent director. Take an example. It does not have anybody. Is looking out for independent director. It will go to IICA website. It will register itself. Company will register itself, and it will start finding out independent director who suits the business of the company. Right. So in that case, suppose I am registered. I have registered myself, and basis my profile saying, look, I'm a company secretary and I'm a law graduate. I have expertise in law. So company needs my expertise. Company will log into the IICA website. It will offer me, look, we want to appoint you as independent directors. Can we have get on a call? I want to bring you on board as an independent director. This may also happen, right? But practically, this does not happen. Practically, your independent directors are one who are very close to you only, who fulfills the definition that we actually saw the other day. Okay, it's a known person, even though suppose company, so Siddharth, take an example, is a director, promoted director in the company. He wants me as an independent director. I will tell Sidharth, look, I have not registered myself in the data bank. He will say, no problem, I will appoint you as an independent director. Go register yourself in the data bank. So what I will do, I will register myself in the data bank. On basis that, he will offer me. He need not go there and search. Right? Do you think somebody from Wipro, somebody from Infosys, somebody from your Britannias, your Mahindras will randomly log into IICA portal and find a random guy and pick him in the board for independent director seat?
Never.
That doesn't happen. Right? You have built a legacy. You have just randomly picking some third party who you don't even know. Just basis of your qualifications, that does not work like that. Right? So I'm just being on a practical aspect, I'm saying, but as per the law, you need to have a registration. Company may register themselves in IICA portal and pick individuals from there. That is the law. Got it right?
Yes.
Remember, this is only for independent director. Other cases, you need not register yourself on the data bank. Please don't forget this. This is a precondition, preconditions prior to the appointment. When the director says, I will do it post, give me offer letter and all, that's a bullshit. Okay, that is not happening. You're violating law. Right? So that is what is given in your selection of independent director in 150. 150 says, who is supposed to maintain the data bank? Okay, how the selection process happens. Okay, one exception is your Section 8 company, your non-profit organization. Your NGOs want to appoint independent directors, that person need not to be registered in the data bank. Right, in this portal, IIC portal, I will show you in some time. You need not have, it's not mandatory that you have DIN also to register. If you have DIN, well and good. If you do not have a DIN, that is also good. You can still go ahead and register. But whenever you are getting appointed, make sure you give your DIN number and make sure you have a registration in the data bank. Okay, so after that, immediately after selection, enrollment in the data bank. So there the process is given. Okay, I think we've already discussed the process. Can anyone tell me, suppose I want to be appointed as a director, independent director. Can you just tell me what is the process that you can recollect?
The first thing is you have to provide DIN and what is it, data bank certificate.
Correct, registration certificate, yes, correct.
And one also was that we have to submit every year MBP one.
Correct. So that is declaration when I participate in the board meeting. That is immediately after my appointment is done.
Okay.
That is after my appointment is done and every year it follows, right? Or whenever there is a change.
Change. Yes.
Correct. So what else?
Like he attends the first meeting of the board as a director. That's all. Man.
Okay, so now take a look at from point number 2, right? From here, every individual, from there, point number 2. We discussed this, correct? Even if you don't have DIN, you can still apply. Okay, so what is the tenure? You can register yourself for 1 year, 5 year, or lifetime. If you're doing for 1 year, 5 year, make sure you get renewal after that period. If it is for lifetime, no renewal required. You have paid fees for entire life. Okay, now take an example. I have a pecuniary case here. Independent director is appointed for, has a registration for 1 year, correct? Practically this happens. Complaint, at the time of appointment complaint, he has registered for 1 year. Now we are proposing his appointment for 5 years. Now what happens for the second year? He does not renew. His data bank registration is gone. Practically we face this. Or he has a registration for 5 years. First tenure is done. Second tenure, we assume that he has a data bank registration. Even that fellow forgets renewal. We go ahead with his appointment, reappointment. Blunder. You're able to understand, right?
So
Yes, sir.
So like this, Manoj. So for the first tenure, when the independent director has been appointed, he has the data bank registration and the pre-verification and everything is done. In the second tenure, he was appointed by the company, but how can we miss the background verification?
Yeah, sorry, Siddharth. Tell me.
No, I was just telling.
Okay.
In the second tenure, the independent director is reappointed, but
Okay.
somehow the company comes to know that the data bank registration has expired.
Yes, expired. So at the first place, you're in violation. So you're supposed to tell the director, look,
Yeah.
you don't have a registration, you don't have renewal at first place.
So that verification is done by the company and the background check. When it happens, it comes to know. So before the appointment,
Correct.
the background check is mandatory.
Right. So you being a company secretary there, you need to advise the board whether that person whom you are recommending to from your NRC to the board, that he meets the prior checks. Right.
Check has to be done by the NRC.
Before proposing to the NRC, you are communicating to the independent director.
Okay.
Look, your registration is due for renewal. Get it done. Otherwise, we cannot place this matter before the NRC.
Got it.
Right. So suppose he has taken registration for 1 year, but you appointed him for 5 years. Make sure by end of first year, have his registration done for the next 4 years or balance. Otherwise, remember, he cannot continue as an independent director. He will stand to lose independence. He has to vacate office. Please remember, write down. Whenever he does not fulfill any of the criteria, the independence criteria that we discussed, right? Who can be appointed as an independent director or who cannot be. In that case, either of the case he meets or doesn't meet, he stands to lose his independence. Immediately vacation has to happen. Vacation is not resignation, which means there is a separate thing called vacation. You just have to walk out of the office. No more independent director. Right? We are not asking him to resign. Resignation is a separate concept. Removal is a separate concept. this is a vacation, which means you have violated or you've loss of independence. At first place, I've appointed you as an independent director. Now there is a loss of independence. That is why you start to vacate.
So once he vacates office and he goes back and renews his data bank registration, then the remaining tenure he can complete.
Lost you in between. Sorry.
See, for example, in the second tenure, when he was appointed, his first year after, for some reason he did not renew and the data bank registration got invalid. So for immediately he vacates the office because
Correct.
he cannot be in the position. But he
Correct.
goes because he has not resigned, neither he has been terminated from the company. So he goes on a vacation, renews the data bank registration for the remaining period, then he resumes back the office again.
Again, you need to follow the entire same process.
So again,
from
after
NRC.
he does the renewal, it goes to the NRC. NRC verifies it. It goes to the board, and board takes up the call, and he comes back to the.
Yes, board recommends to shareholder. Then he comes back to the.
Okay, so the entire sequence again goes back to 0.
Yes, yes.
Business rules.
Provided you take care of the term also. Term.
Okay.
Right. In no case it cannot exceed 10 years or 2 terms. If it is less than 10 years.
Yes.
Right? Mandatory 3-year cooling period. Remember that, right? Cooling period. See, practically I'm saying what happens is company gives false advices to the directors, especially independent directors. Independent directors, intention of the law is the moment, the reason for the law to set tenure is the moment you are able to continue for more period, you're trying to get attached to the members of the board, which means you become biased, right? Biased to whatever they propose. So that is why the law says nothing doing, have this fixed tenure, go for a vacation of 3 years, cooling period, then come back. Right? So company initially what it does is at the first tenure, it says, say about 3 or 4th year, it says, look, please do me this favor. I'm saying unethical board, not ethical board. Ethical board does not do this. Practically, it may happen for unethical board. The members of the board may say to influence the independent director, saying, look, I will propose your matter to the shareholders for second term. I will let you continue, hold your position as independent directors. Please get this resolution approved for me. Right? It may happen for an unethical board. Not saying for an ethical board it is happening, but practically it may happen. You are giving false promises to independent directors. That guy falls to the trap just for the sake of holding your position as an independent director. He does not verify your agenda, right? Does not verify the background of the resolution, blindly approves it. Tomorrow scrutiny happens, fraud happens, inspection, the officers come for inspection, you are held liable. Even though law says for independent directors, you may get away, but it also says for exception cases wherein you have not done proper diligence. In that case, still you will be held liable, right? So any doubts on independent director's point? And also one more important thing is before we conclude independent director is independent director has to pass something called as online self-proficiency test. Please remember very, very important point. Okay, self-assessment test. Whenever independent director is appointed on the board, okay, so you just have to log into IICA website. He has to take up this exam. It's like a multiple choice exam. He needs to score more than 50% marks. That's all, very easy. Any graduate can actually pass this exam. But only thing is, reason why this is a lately introduced provision, reason is the government wants to keep a check of independent directors that look, independent directors, you are there at the board, you need to be aware of what is the existing law and what are the penalties that you will be liable if you don't fulfill your responsibilities. Right? So this IICA self-assessment test, it is say about 30 marks company law, 20 marks security law, 10 marks your income tax act, 10 marks your information technology law, right? So all the law cumulative 100 marks. You have to, the moment you are being appointed as an independent director in any board, you need to pass this exam. This is only for once in a lifetime. If I have already appointed as an independent director and already cleared this exam, so the moment I'm being appointed elsewhere in an independent director, I need not take up this exam again. This is one-time exam. So I get a certificate from the IICA saying I've passed this exam. That is it, right? So whenever I'm getting appointed as another independent director in another company, I can show to the board, look, I need not take up this exam because I'm already appeared and cleared the exams. Got it, right?
What is the name of the exam, sir?
Online self-proficiency test.
Okay.
Please remember, this is only applicable to independent director. We are only talking about independent director. If an independent director assume does not pass within 2 years, I said maximum 2 years, right, to pass the exam. What if it does not pass? What happens? He stands to vacate office, same provision, vacation. It is called breach of trust, which means shareholders initially have approved your independence, approved you as an independent director, which means they are believing you to be independent of the management. This is also one of the criteria to be independent. If you don't fulfill this, if you don't pass this, you stand to vacate office.
One last question in respect to the independent directors, like after 2 tenures, they have to have a mandatory 3 years of cooling period. So is it
Correct.
that in that 3 years of cooling period, what they have, they cannot be appointed in the same sector where the industry belonging to, or it can be
Only to that company, only to the particular
that
company.
particular company, but within that 3 years period, they can be appointed within that same industrial sector in any other company.
Yes, that is allowed. That is allowed. That is not a
Only the
problem.
company's perspective that they will be having cooling off period before they get re-onboard into
Correct.
the same
So
company.
that applies again to the company. If the company has a holding company, the company has a subsidiary, company has an associate. In any other capacity, directly, indirectly, cannot hold office.
Okay.
The word indirectly is very, very important, right? Which means you cannot be connected to the group setup in any manner,
In any manner. Understood.
right?
Yes.
Sir, where is it mentioned that, and the number of companies where he can hold independent directors, where is it?
No, you remember initially we discussed this, right? Maximum for a listed company, 3 or 7, right? See here, as per 1 minute.
The last chapter, I think we.
Okay, you come to page number 710.
Yes, sir.
So look at section 165, number of directorship. Right? So
717, right? 717.
710.
710, okay.
Number of directorship, we have already discussed this, if you remember.
Yes, total is 20, maximum is 10.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Right. So this is only Companies Act. But if you're complying with LODR, that is listing regulation, if you are appointed as an independent director, there we read about, I think 7 or 5 or something like that for independent director, and for if you're a WTD 3 maximum position that you can hold. Okay, so that is what I'm not able to recall precisely, but go back and check for a listed company, right? So for a Companies Act point of view, maximum in any case you can't exceed 20. Out of that, maximum 10 companies public. It is left to you. You want to be independent director in how many companies ever you want. Okay, the moment you fall under listing regulation, comply with LODR.
Okay. Sir.
Okay, so another important thing is, okay, exams cleared, right? Exams, your online proficiency clear, all clear this.
Almost cleared, Manoj. Last one paper left, that is jurisprudence.
No, I'm
Not
talking
pre-test.
I'm talking about self-proficiency.
No.
Right. So, clear, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Now, take an example. A director is being recommended for second tenure. First tenure, he has done extremely well. Board is satisfied. Shareholders are satisfied. Okay. But on what basis you want to recommend this second tenure is basis on performance evaluation. Are you able to recollect this performance evaluation? Board evaluation, performance evaluation.
In committees, was it there?
Yes, you remember who can do this performance evaluation? 3 categories. Your board, your NAMRAM committee, or your third party can do this.
Third party. Yes, sir.
Right? Whom they do? They do entire board evaluation, they do independent directors evaluation, they do committee evaluation, right? Any of these 3. So whenever independent director is proposed for a second tenure, make sure evaluation is done of that particular director and board has to recommend along with a justification, along with a performance evaluation to shareholder. Saying, look, shareholders, he has done really well. He has given a lot of inputs, participated in all the deliberations of the board. We like him. Okay, he participates in all the board. He is a value addition. Okay, so again, that performance evaluation does it by the 3 categories that I mentioned. They give a report to the board. The board on that basis recommend to the shareholder, saying on this evaluation basis, the reappointment is being proposed. Got it right? Page number 716, reappointment of independent director. Okay, any doubts on independent director's point? Okay, come to page number 718. Mark it as very, very important. Exceptions from online proficiency test. Right, so in this case, if the individual falls under any of the category provided in A, B, C, in that case, the director need not take online proficiency test. They are exempt. Please write it as very, very important. You will be asked for 4 marks. They will tell you, so-and-so wants to be appointed as an independent director. However, he wants to seek your advice whether he needs to clear the exams. So what is exemption? He has served either A, B, C for a minimum of 3 years in any of the condition, that is A, B or C. What is it? As a director or a KMP, listed company, listed in BSc NSC, unlisted company having paid up capital of 10 crore or more. What can you recollect for a companies having paid up capital 10 crore or more? What are provisions that are applicable?
CSR. No, audit committee.
Audit, NAMRAM,
NR.
right?
NRC.
Correct. Right. So all these are applicable. So automatically, which means you're already there in that setup, committee setup. So you are able to solve if something comes up like that. So in that case, listed company for 3 years, unlisted public company having paid up capital 10 crore or more for 3 years, or say you are there for 3 years in a company listed in India or outside India, okay, or a body corporate that has FATF relationship on money laundering or say any relationship with respect to international organization of Securities Commission, okay, or a company which is incorporated outside India, paid up capital $2 million US, statutory corporation specifically created by special law legislature, right? So in that case, if you have served 3 years or more, you are exempt. Right? Case number B is your central government or ministry feels that you have expertise in handling matters of commerce, corporate affairs, finance for over a period of 3 years, right? Or your affairs with related matters are good, right? So in that case also you are exempt. Minimum is 3 years, right? Remember that 3 years fulfilling any of these three categories. Last thing, you're appointed as chief of SEBI, RBI, SEBI, okay, or your IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Authority. Okay. At most important is, suppose I'm an independent director, or say I'm a director fulfilling this criteria in parallel terms. That is, one company I've already been appointed, another company is also I'm serving. This means I need not to club both the years. 3 years is for one company only. Right? You need to make sure that one company has completed 3 years. Don't club existing holding position in one at the same time, basically. So that's what the proviso says, that further the purpose of calculation of period for 3 years, okay, 2 or more companies at the same time shall be counted only once. Holding position in same company at the same time, 1 year only.
Sir.
Yeah.
So in only one company you can serve 3 years. That's what you're telling. For
in order to claim exemption.
Yes.
In order to claim exemption for writing this efficiency test.
Okay. In one company has to standalone basis 3 years.
Correct. In any case, if you are able to establish any ABC for 3 years, okay, so in that case you are exempted from writing exams.
But as you already told, like 2 years after appointment, within 2 years you have to write test, right?
Correct.
So how does it work?
In that case, that is your fresh appointment. Individuals has not fulfilled any of this criteria.
Okay, so it's like before this act was enacted.
Exactly. Suppose you are already a director in a KMP, you are a well-reputed person in industry, or you are already in a listed company, you are appointed as a KMP in any of this category.
Okay.
You are with a SEBI, RBI. Still, I want to appoint you as an independent director in the new company. In that case, you can produce this certificate saying, look, I am exempted from taking exam. Since I have already served in my past for over 5 years, 6 years in so-and-so industry.
Yes, sir, got it. I thought this is an independent director doing all this thing.
No. This is your past experience. Out of that experience, you are being appointed as an independent director. In that case, independent director need not take your proficiency exams.
Okay. Yes, sir. Great.
Okay, last point, very important for us. You are a company secretary in practice, chartered accountant in practice, past accountant in practice, advocate, okay, practice in court. In that case, 10 years. If you have served over a period of 10 years, then only you are eligible for practice. I mean, eligible for claiming exemption under online proficiency exam.
Clear.
Right, again it says company secretary in practice. Practically what doubt we get is Suppose a person has served a company secretary in employment for 5 years, then he has set up a practice for another 5 years. Now he is proposing for an appointment as independent director, whether I'll be able to take exemption or not. So that is a practical challenge. But if you look at plain reading of this, it says in practice as a company secretary, right? So which means the intention is 10 years you have to have as a practice as your background to avoid this exam. Right, so that is a practical difficulty that I said, but intention is practice in 10 years. Right, okay, quickly we will move to page number 708. Additional director. Okay, suppose I want to appoint, okay, Chetana as a director, any director, doesn't matter. Any director as an additional director. Additional director is just a designation. Whenever your appointment is being made, okay, board can do it. Please remember, without special notice, board can appoint somebody as an additional director. What is a basic rule? Directors are always appointed at a general meeting. Basic rule, don't forget this. Right? Directors are always appointed in general meeting. Exception is additional director. Additional director can be appointed by board of directors. But what is his tenure? He will hold office up to the annual general meeting or last day in which annual general meeting should have been held. If you do not regularize his appointment, regularize is, you need to take the matter before the shareholder. You need to tell them, look, during the year, I've appointed so-and-so as a director, Chetana as an additional director. I'm coming before you to regularize Chetana as a director. From additional director, I'm regularizing as a director. Okay? Now anyway, shareholders are appointing. Basic rule. Basic rule, all directors have to be appointed in general meeting by shareholders. Exception is, I appoint an additional director at the board. Now, once the appointment is done, at the next general meeting, I regularize. But what if I don't regularize? Maximum that person can hold offices up to next annual general meeting or last day in which annual general meeting should have been held. Annual general meeting, you need to hold annual general meeting before 30th September. Please note down every year. Mandatory. Unless ROC grants extension. So in annual general meeting, what happens is your shareholders approve your accounts, audited accounts. Your accounts get audited. Books of accounts, as I mentioned, it's prepared by the management. The auditors, stat auditors, independent professionals, they audit your accounts. Audit is signed off, adopted at annual general meeting. Accounts are audited only at annual general meeting. It cannot be adopted at extraordinary general meeting. You remember two types of general meeting? Initially that
annual and extraordinary general.
Correct. Ordinary, annual and extraordinary general meeting. So this agenda item, that is your adoption of accounts, has to happen in your annual general meeting. Okay. That is one. Please note down, okay? Again, it is going to be covered in my other topics, but better you understand now so that tomorrow we can just brush up. These are ordinary business. Don't get confused. Ordinary resolution is different. Ordinary business is different. Ordinary business can be transacted only at annual general meeting. One is your adoption of accounts, either standalone or consolidated comes into picture when you have holding subsidiary relationship or holding an associate relationship. In that case, you need to get approved. Second case, declaration of dividend. If company has huge amount of profits, it wants to pay dividend, wants to give out cash. That is your agenda number 2 in annual general meeting. Agenda number 3, directors retire by rotation. Very, very important. I will speak about that. Director who are already been appointed as a director, you are just retiring by rotation. There is a retirement by rotation concept. So in that case, that is your one of ordinary business agenda. Fourth agenda is appointment of stat auditor and their remuneration, fixing of remuneration. Statutory auditor, chartered accountants in practice. Can be individual, can be a firm of auditors. So these are your mandatory for ordinary business to be transacted at annual general meeting. It cannot be transacted in extraordinary general meeting. Okay, please keep that in mind. This is very, very basic. Two type of shareholder meeting. Can anybody repeat?
Annual general meeting and extraordinary general meeting.
Correct. So in annual general meeting, you can transact ordinary business. You can also transact special business. Okay. But ordinary is first. You will transact ordinary, then take up special business. But in extraordinary, it is always special. You cannot take up ordinary, extraordinary general meeting. Any doubts still here? Ordinary business, special business. Special business can either be your ordinary resolution or special resolution. That is okay. Special business can always be transacted at extraordinary general meeting, whereas your ordinary business can only be transacted in your annual general meeting. Ordinary business, always ordinary resolution. Special business can be your ordinary or a special resolution. Got it right? So in my AGM, first I will transact ordinary business. Once I transact, if I have other business, that will be considered a special business. I will take that up for the discussion, for the voting. Got it right? Any doubts on the basic concept?
Sir, in special general meeting, what are the things?
Extraordinary general meeting. That is why initially I made you to write that chart. Please go back to that chart and make a modification there, or just add these points. I think Pooja, you weren't there at that point of time, I guess. But you can just always get in touch with your friends and then ask for them for that chart. Okay, so clearly we had made a bifurcation of what is the meeting, what kind of meeting that board does, general meeting, that is shareholders meeting, type of shareholders meeting. Got it right? You're able to recollect that initial thing?
Yes, sir. But what are the business taken in EGM?
Special business.
Only special
Other
business.
than the four that we discussed, right? Other than that, everything else is special.
So in which page number it is? I went out. So which page number the business mentioned?
No, this will come up in my later topics. But this is a basic. Okay, if you remember, there is one topic called as retire by rotation. Agenda number 3 for ordinary business. So that is why I want to emphasize this. Got it right? So additional director appointed by the board. Who recommends this additional director?
The board of directors.
Board of directors approve. Who recommends?
NRC.
NRC recommends. Don't forget this. Wherever, look, you remember the provision as if NRC is applicable. Right? Even if you write NRC and then board in the exams, you will get marks. But where you're already fulfilling the criteria, but if you don't write NRC, then you stand to lose marks. So that is why I'm trying to say, make sure that wherever you're referring to the board, It has to always come through NRC. I am appointing additional director today. NRC recommends, board appoints. What is the tenure? Tenure of additional director.
Up to next AGM or 30th September.
Correct. What if the AGM does not happen on 30th September? That fellow vacates office. Additional director vacates office.
Is it like women director within 3 months or next board meeting, whichever is later?
No, that is within which you have to reappoint. Correct?
Yes, sir. Vacation.
But here it's a maximum tenure. If you do not regularize that independent director, if you do not regularize that additional director, in that case, that person vacates office.
Okay.
So practically I'm saying today I want to bring Pooja on board as a director. First, I will recommend her as an additional director in NRC, recommend to the board. Board will appoint straight away. So my effective date is board appointment. Then the board calls for a general meeting immediately, that is allowed. Or if a board does not want to call a general meeting immediately, it will wait till my annual general meeting. It will take this matter as a special business. I will get this appointment regularized. I will tell my shareholders, look, I have appointed Pooja during the year. Kindly regularize this appointment. Shareholders vote for that. Okay. Then she becomes a director effective from date of board resolution. Got it right? But what if shareholders does not approve? That person vacates office. Got it right? Any doubts? Additional director, it is only a designation. So what I can do is today or tomorrow practically, I can appoint Kushal as additional director. Immediately I can change the designation to managing director, or I can change the designation to WTD, that is allowed. I have time till my annual general meeting to regularize. You're able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Today I have appointed somebody as an additional director. I cannot change the designation to director. Appointment of director, basic rule. It has to happen through shareholders only. Till my AGM, that person will become additional director only. Till my regularization happens in annual general meeting, or in case if I want to hold the general meeting before, that person will be called additional director only till the regularization happens. I want to bring an independent director on board. I will appoint him as additional director in the capacity of independent director. Okay, additional director in the capacity of independent director, subject to approval of members. That is my board resolution. So my board will approve, the majority of my board will approve, stating in my resolution I will say subject to appointment of general meeting, subject to appointment of members of the meeting or shareholders meeting, members meeting. Got it right? Additional director cannot be regularized as plain director. Plain director appointment can happen only by shareholders meeting. Any doubts on additional director concept? See, otherwise what happens is, I don't want to have him as an additional director. In that case, board has no authority. NRC has no role in recommendation. In that case, you will have to wait for shareholder to give you a special notice. You remember small shareholder director concept. Somebody has to recommend, right? Small shareholder.
Yes,
Similarly, you want to have another director as an independent director or a whole-time director, whatever director it is, you will have to wait for other directors, other shareholder to give a proposal for appointment. Why do you want to wait? This is not a special category like a small shareholder.
No,
Even there you had a choice for a voluntary appointment. Right, in this case, since as I said, directors among themselves finds out better persons to fit in the board, they will offer him as an additional director. Namram committee recommends, board approves subject to approval of shareholders. Otherwise, shareholders have to receive notice under section 160 on the notice, special notice that is being given by the shareholder. Only in that case, company can act upon it. Otherwise, board has no role, NRC has no role. No role for appointment. Basic rule kicks in. Any doubts on additional director?
Sir, can you summarize, sir, 1 minute, in 1 minute?
I have no. I was planning to go, but unfortunately, what happened is the visa could not be approved by the embassy, so I had to push that to November. That's why I had to forcefully wait for 2 months, and then I could have joined because.
Maximum ROC will give 3 years.
Yes,
ROC, you remember Register of Companies?
I think we have to
Yes,
jump
sir.
off.
It has a power to grant maximum extension of 3 months. In
Yes.
that case, extended period. If company has applied for extension,
In Bangalore.
if I do not hold my annual general meeting, or prior to that, if I do not hold my general meeting to regularize his appointment, that director vacates office.
Okay. Understood, sir.
Got it, right?
Yes. But
Yeah.
you said that like we have to, they cannot be changed from additional director to any other director until the next AGM.
Additional director to director, I said.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Only shareholders have power to appoint as a director. This is additional director. So from additional director, you can give special power like MD power, special power like WTD power. Okay. So that is a special power over and above your additional directorship. That is allowed. But however, when you regularize in the general meeting or in the annual general meeting, you regularize in such a way that you say that I appointed him as additional director in the capacity of managing director. I am coming before you to regularize his appointment. The moment shareholders regularize is appointed as a director, automatically the managing director also gets regularized. Dual effect.
Means what happens for MD?
Yeah. So additional director to managing director, I have given special power as a managing director.
Yeah.
Now in my general meeting notice, I say I appointed him as additional director. I want to make him a WTD. I have already made him a WTD. My shareholder will only regularize him as a director. That is sufficient. Or you can say I want to regularize him as an additional WTD. That is also fine. Both are fine. Okay. Director, the moment I regularize him as a director, that will serve the purpose. Got it, right?
Yes, sir. And like why have we, in a sense, what is the need for alternate director?
Additional, not alternate, additional.
Additional, what is the need for him?
Additional director are appointed by NRC or recommended by NRC by board. As I said, right, you have identified some competent person yourself among the management. You want to bring that person on the board.
Okay.
But whereas general rule, shareholders will propose under 160. There's a section called 160. So shareholder has a power to propose the candidate for appointment.
Okay.
So in that case, management has no role.
Okay. Only shareholder.
Correct. So in that case, shareholders are recommended. You are only recommending back against. You are saying, look, I've got this special notice from say 1/10 of the shareholder. Okay, proposing Kushal as a director. Okay, so board will say, okay, I've got this notice. Now I'm recommending back to the shareholder.
Okay, sir. And this additional director will be with the maximum director also included in the number of directors of a company.
Yes. Additional director is as good as a director, but you have to wait till regularization happens. Shareholders to confirm. You
Okay.
are no less than any other director. You follow
Yes.
all the duties given to as a director.
Okay. So,
Only thing is your designation will be additional director until you are regularized as a director.
okay.
Okay, I can appoint you as additional director in the capacity of independent director. Reason being, I directly cannot appoint you as an independent director is board has no role, board has no authority.
Hmm.
That is why I am taking this shelter as an additional director in the capacity as independent, in the capacity as MD,
Okay.
in the capacity as WTD.
They're just checking him how he acts, and then
Correct, it is just a regular. Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay, so before we conclude, I have few questions. Okay, let me share. Please give me an answer. Right? Okay, point number B. Quick.
2 terms, they've already mentioned is 3 and 3 years. So 2 terms can be less than 5 years. But after 2 terms, he has to take a cooling period of 3 years. So cooling period is required. Even though 10 years is not considered because 2 term is considered.
Perfect. So do you all agree with him?
Yes.
So you're able to understand the questions, right? This is how the question will be. You need to apply bit logic. You need to apply what we discussed in the class. You need to write the answer. That's all. Got it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a second. Okay, answer number this, question number D.
Oh,
DIR 6
DIR 6
Perfect.
change the particulars of DIN.
Perfect. Got it right? So this is how the questions will be. So if you are able to remember what we discussed now, I bet you cannot score less than 60. Got it? Only thing is you need to apply your mind. That's all. We will discuss each and everything here. The only thing is that when you read the question, you should be able to apply your mind. Yes, we discuss this provision. We need to apply here. So all are in agreement with this, right?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, just a second. Yeah, please answer this. Okay, that is question number 1. I have question number 2 and 3 also. Okay, first, can anyone decode this question for me, please?
Like as we said, we have discussed only 20 companies you can own, but here 22. But one is a Section 8 company.
Okay.
So Section 8 is an exemption, so he can hold it.
No, because even then, Section 8 is exempted. The thing is, 11 private companies, including the
One
government.
government now.
No,
Government company is also there.
but even if it is dormant, how can the number be 11? It should be 10. It cannot be more than 11, right? Because the total number goes to 22. The total number cannot cross 20, irrespective of anything. Because as a director, more than 20 companies, you cannot hold directorship.
So, Siddharth, you are saying, so what I am saying is to counter you, I am saying that, look, I hold a position of 30 companies as a director, but 10 companies are Section 8 companies. What's the problem? You want maximum 20 companies, right? I hold 20%, but this is exemption category. Section 8 companies exempted from this 20 companies limit. I hold 10 companies as a director in Section 8. What's the problem with you? Right, so you are company secretary, now you answer me, or you answer to the others.
Section 8 is not included. Only private public.
Yeah, quickly, somebody decode, please. Decode the question.
So he is in 22 companies. He is a director.
Okay, slowly. As on 30th September 2022, he holds 22 companies. So, firstly, whether you are allowed to hold more than 20 companies? No, correct?
Yes.
So, as per reading of first line, you come to the conclusion that there's something wrong. Right? Now you read further.
The company includes 10 public.
Okay, so maximum is 10 public companies. So that is in compliance, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, 11 private companies, out of which one is a dormant. So which means out of 11 minus 1, dormant is exempt, right, from total calculation.
Yes.
So which means 10 plus 10. As of now, out of 22, I am minusing 1 because 1 is dormant.
Okay.
Correct. Now, as of now, I am 21, currently holding position. Read further now.
One company is registered under Section 8.
Section 8. Section 8 is NGOs.
That also goes out.
That also goes out. Correct?
The number comes down to 20.
Correct. So, as on 20, do you find any problem?
No, sir.
20th December, no.
No problem, right? So, as on 20 limit, there is no problem.
No.
Everyone are in agreement?
Yes.
Right? So, read further now.
Which Rohan is not a director, acquired 100% shares in MNP Private Limited. So the dormant company was got acquired by 100%.
Okay.
So A is a public company, so it's increased by 11, one extra.
Wholly owned subsidiary is exempt, sir, from that limit. Dormant company, Section 8, wholly owned subsidiary.
From calculation.
Yes.
But since now he's again director of APC Limited, again a public company. It's included, I guess. Not sure.
but
No, somebody said exempt for WOS, right?
Yes, sir.
Where is the exemption? I can find only dormant exemption, Section 8 exemption.
That is an audit committee. Audit NRC will exemption comes. Wholly owned subsidiary.
Cleared?
Yes, sir.
right? Read from recently, slowly read from recently. You will only able to crack it. Look, they are clearly saying recently on 20th December 2020, ABC Limited, in which Rohan is not a director, acquired 100% shares in MNP.
This
He is
doesn't
not
come
a
into
director
the
at all. Does not matter. So he is not a director in that company. That company is holding shares in MNP, that is government company. How is Rohan going to be bothered? Correct?
Exactly.
So this is what institute will try to trick you with these statements. You need to get concepts right. You can crack easily. You're able to understand, right?
Exactly.
Now you answer the following. Whether directorship held by Rohan as on 30th September 22 are valid.
Yes, it is valid because he hasn't violated the rules.
Okay, so you can write section 165 number of directorship,
Yes.
page number 710.
Yes, section 165, number of directors.
Okay, please also note down penalty. Penalty, please mark it as important. See, suppose you find a violation here, you have to also write what is the penalty, penal provisions applicable. So under 165, please byhead this penal provision also.
Sir, page number
710.
710. Okay.
Okay, question number one solved.
Can Rohan continue to hold
Sir,
directorships in all 22 companies after acquisition made by ABC Limited? Yes.
sir,
Yeah.
can you scroll down, sir? Scroll up. Since they're holding 100% shares, so MNP Private Limited will become public out.
Deemed to be public.
Correct.
Not public, deemed to be public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Deemed public is one and the same, correct?
Yeah, okay.
So again, now Rohan is a director of a public, right? Now it's a deemed public.
No, they are saying ABC Limited in which Rohan is not a director.
Okay, but still they've acquired MNP, right? MNP becomes public.
MNP is a different entity.
How does it matter to you in this particular question? You tell me that.
Yes.
How are you able to exercise the nexus between your Rohan not holding directorship in ABC and MNP Private Limited? The question is fairly simple. The question is only saying whether directorship held by Rohan as on 31st September are valid. You answered that right.
Yes.
Now come to question number 2.
Can Rohan continue
Can
to hold
Rohan continue
directorship in
to
all
hold
22 companies
directorship
after
after acquisition
acquisition?
made?
Yes.
I would
If
say
Rohan was a director, in that case, things would have been different. They're saying Rohan is not a director at all, right?
Yes. If Rohan
Rohan-
would be director, then it would have violated the rules because it would have crossed the number.
In public companies. Correct, right? So deemed public company, it would become, so it would cross 10 companies, right? 10 public companies. It would become 11.
Oh. I'm checking.
In either case, that would still remain your dormant only. In either case, it would be exempt only.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the answer for this?
Yes. Rohan.
Can he continue hold directorship 22 after acquisition?
Yes, he can.
Yes, right?
Yes.
That
Because even after acquisition, it is still deemed to be public, but it's still a dormant company only.
yes, it is dormant and however is not holding any directorship there.
Yes. So because he's not belong to ABC, he can still retain that. So second answer also, second question
So
answer also
for him,
will
it
be
doesn't
yes.
matter. Correct, it doesn't matter for him. Okay, question number 3.
Of the directors in ABC Limited, whether the proposal given by the company secretary is tentative. Company secretary of ABC Limited is Yes, provided the board decides to do an amendment in the articles.
Perfect. Perfect answer.
Based on the company secretary's proposal, once the board decides to make an amendment in the articles to restrict the number of directors, which does not cross as per the act, it can be done. Because the act has mentioned a certain limit. If it is going beyond the limit, then there is a violation. But
See, here what they're trying to say is they want to restrict the number of directorship in the ABC
ABC
Limited.
Limited.
So it is maximum directorship that an individual can hold is 20, correct?
Yes,
Now, what they are saying is in ABC Limited, if they want to restrict you as an individual,
yes,
saying no, no, you need to hold only director position in 10 companies, right? In that case, it can do that by passing a resolution.
yes,
You can, by your articles, you can say that in my company, I don't want any director holding position as a director in more than 10 companies. That is allowed.
yes. So
You need
you
to
have to tell
restrict.
if anybody is holding, then you are bound to resign from that in order to be
Yes.
the director in this
Yes.
company. Otherwise, you have to release the director position.
Yes. Act allows 20.
Yes,
All in agreement, right? Act allows 20.
Act
But you
allows
are
20.
making provision stricter. Stricter
Yes.
provision is allowed.
Yes,
Articles of Association amendment, always remember any amendment to alteration, amendment in the AOA, special resolution. 75% or more, you need to get consent.
yes, from the shareholders.
Okay, any doubts
All the
here?
three questions will be yes.
Okay, basically it will take time in understanding. Okay, but if you're thorough with the concepts, no, you can immediately answer.
Yes.
You're able to relate what we are discussing and what we are looking at the question paper, right?
Yes. I mean, it's easily now. It's like when we see the questions, it's easily connecting. You know, the sections are coming up, rolling immediately because the
Yeah.
brainstorming is
That's
hitting
all.
with us. In between the lines, the answers are there. We are just catching up.
Yeah. So that's why I'm asking you to go back and revise every day so that you're able to crack this at one go.
Uh,
Yeah, Kushal, tell me.
that wholly owned, sir, if it was not a dormant company and they own, so it becomes deemed. So that deemed is only will take into consideration in LODR, right? SEBI, not here. Directorship we don't consider.
No, sorry, repeat again. I didn't get you. Sorry.
So simple as they are owning it, right? So it is wholly owned subsidiary, so it's a deemed public company. So
Correct.
now Rohan is a owner, director of a deemed public company.
Okay.
So if it was not a dormant company, it would have increased, right, from 10 to 11.
Exactly. In that case, it's a violation. Yes.
In that case, it's a violation. Okay, so that was my doubt.
Deemed whenever. Okay. One more last. Sorry, I just forgot one more question I have.
Sir, which year paper was it you showed recently?
Actually, okay, 1 minute.
Fine, sir.
Okay, last question for the day. Okay, question number 3.
Well, direct.
Tell me whether it's a public company or a private company first.
It's a public.
It's a public
company.
Public company, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
public
Now
company.
you tell me what is the minimum directors required for public company?
Three.
Directors.
3 directors, right? Now you tell me in what categories of unlisted public company am I supposed to appoint independent directors? Page number 701.
Yeah, paid up capital of 10 crore or more, turnover 100 crore or more.
Page number
701.
701.
So at least 2 directors.
Yes.
So out of 3, at least 2 independent directors. Do you agree till here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you see women director provision triggering?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So out of that 3, so make sure 1 person is a woman director. So you need to write all the provisions, then conclude the answer. Conclude saying, look, this is my board composition of Favorite Limited.
So it
They have
will go like this. First, we will have to set up the criteria saying this belongs to the which category of companies. So
Yeah, you need to look. You need to keep as much as possible, bringing down. Okay, narrowing things, narrowing the question.
Okay.
Then you find out the answer.
Okay.
Okay, first you see. That's what I said. Always look at the question. See, it's a private or public company.
Yes.
Once that is established, listed or unlisted. Once that is established, start recollecting which are the provisions that gets triggered. They're saying composition of the board. So you start with saying, look, board for a public company is minimum 3. Now you start analyzing what are the criteria that gets triggered, which are the limits, independent director, women director, all the things come here, right?
Yes,
Here
sir.
they're only specific to composition of the board. They're not asking for composition of committee. Okay, don't write committee composition here. Unnecessary, you will lose time. You will not get any extra
So
mark.
here,
Question:
here the composition of its board will be with minimum number of 3 directors.
3 directors, yes, and then say so and so company is applicable, independent director provision applicable. So you need to have independent directors. So and so company is applicable for appointment as women director provision applicable. So total, you can have this number of directors as the composition of the board. You're able to understand, right? Look, you all know this, but the only thing, application of mind is required. That is why I'm requesting, go back and learn all the provisions, especially this limits now, make a chart. I always say, go back and make a chart, start memorizing these charts. Then you will be able to
Yes, recall faster.
run right, okay?
Yes.
Done for today. No doubts before we conclude.
Revision is
No, sir.
Now revision begins.
Yeah, please revise. Any doubts before I conclude? I'll give a minute. Ask me now, or you saying, okay, let me revise and come back tomorrow. That's also fine.
Okay.
Catch.
Tomorrow, sir, we can revise on tomorrow.
Okay, then fine. See you all tomorrow. We'll complete this chapter tomorrow. Right?
Okay.
Then we'll discuss certain question. I'll show you how the IICA website is and what goes into annual general meeting notice and all. Right, so that you will have a practical thing and you don't forget.
No, one last thing. In the 10th chapter, there are some, historical cases has been given as, kind of discussion. Those kind of questions, do we get in the examinations?
Historical question, can you refer to the page
No, I
number?
mean, like there will be certain conflicts or issues as we discuss in between the classes, right? Like for example, one is like, can an independent director be reappointed for the first time as this? So that whole thing which comes, is it like the case scenario comes?
Look, this is an interpretation issue. This is just for an understanding. You don't get questions.
Got it.
Look, there in whatever you said, again, tomorrow I'll come back and discuss on that.
Sure, no worries.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, then bye. See you tomorrow. Please go back and revise today on all independent director provision. Basic, get the concept right for general meeting. Extraordinary general meeting, annual general meeting. What are the business that you transact? Be clear. Tomorrow we'll take it forward.
Yes, sir. And happy teachers, sir.
Yeah, Kushal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Happy teachers, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, same to you all. You're all teachers to each other, no? You all learning.
Yes.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Thank you.